May I have approval for the minutes from August 26th, please?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? The financial treasurer's report, Glenn?
Yeah, sorry, let me get to that. On the IDA, I don't really have anything specific to bring up, on our Bank of Cooperstown savings account, we still have 200,000 pledged towards our IRP 5 application.
It's been there long enough. It should be 400 by now.
Well, they don't. pay much
Something the matter,
interest over
Scott?
there. Yeah. But so we're still in limbo over that IRP. So IRP is intermediary lending fund. It's a loan fund that will run through our LDC. We currently have 4. We borrow money from USDA at 1%. Then we relend it. We pay them back over a 33-year period and trying to build a loan fund. It's what we've used to build the loan funds under the LDC. You have to provide match. The IDA was providing $200,000 grant to the LDC as match for the loan. We've been approved for that for $750,000 as soon as there's a federal budget. So
That's coming.
yes,
It's coming.
we've been approved for Evans on the phone. I think we've been tentatively approved since February. There's no money. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that item. Oh, then also just under our receivable due to the IDA from the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation. The Sewer Works Corporation currently has 10,000 on hand. It's owed 11,000 from the industries. Today, I'll be doing financials for the Sewer Works Corporation. We've got new bills coming in. We'll probably only be able, we'll knock about 4,000 off of that. But we're still gonna have a continuing
You paying interest
receivable
on
for
that?
that. Yes, I'm paying the same amount of interest that we receive on our Bank of Cooperstown savings.
I'm glad it's somebody.
Yes, but we'll get more into that whole situation in a little bit. Yeah, exactly.
Motto forever.
Okay, so that's under the IDA. So nothing on the treasurer's report there unless there's questions.
You'll get to it later. If it's on.
Which one?
Did
Sewer work.
Joe chance
yeah.
to look at the?
I did, I
Treasurer's
didn't print
reports?
it off though, so, and I don't have it on my computer, so.
Okay.
I will.
We'll remedy that by
Alright.
next month.
You have a copy? Yeah. There you go. Okay, so yeah, we'll get to Scott's surprise later. All right, so treasurer's report for the LDC. Again, just some things to report. September is our big payment month to USDA for our IRP loans. So we will be making, well, we have already made, and it is shown here accurately on the treasurer's report. We made a $17,800 payment under IRP 4. We have payments of 12,000 under IRP 1 and 30,800 under IRP 2 that are coming due this month, and we have sufficient funds to pay for them. IRP 3 is due in December at 31,800. Other than that, I don't have anything under treasurer's report unless there's questions. Are we in public?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so yes, so IDA loan report will refer by number. Yeah, so number 4.
Are you as frustrated with that as?
It's just frustrating. So this loan, basically, they make 2 payments a year and they pay for 6, they make 6 payments at a time. Usually it's in the end of July, we get our 6-month payment. They're just a little bit late. I'm working with them. The principal on that loan is busy working in her personal life that's outside the business not that that's an excuse, it's just the rationale. Number 6 is just always late for our meetings. Number 7 is, let's set that aside, we'll continue. Okay, number 7 is, yes, number 7, 8, and then they also have a lease payment down below at the bottom. I can't use the name. We've been in touch with them about coming back onto payments and just, we do automatic withdrawal. Just haven't figured out the timing of when we can restart automatic withdrawals, but they are coming back on to payments. What is due represents a year of non-payments, some of which, the majority of which were permitted under understandings we have with them. And then there's just been a delay in getting back.
Anecdotally, you hearing any news about how this year went, this summer went?
I haven't, it was the intention to bring them in this month and they're on vacation. So it would be my intention to have them come in October. At our October meeting.
Gotcha.
You know, yes, I hear, you know, that they're doing well, but that's all I hear. So I'd like to bring them in.
If you're gonna bring them in next month, can you ask them to send us the financials now? So we have time to look at them.
Yeah, let's do it as of the end of September.
Yeah, but relatively quickly, so we have weeks to look at them,
Right.
2 days or 3
Yeah, I'm
days.
sure we need the in-person, just send us the money and the reports.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so remind me to
3
get in
years.
touch with her today.
You have to wait a week.
Yeah, but I can send the email out today.
Okay.
Yeah.
There, yeah, the email, okay. All right, so then moving on, number 13, they typically pay at the end of the month, so it's not odd for them to be 1 month behind, but they have fallen 2 months behind. I believe Evan reached out to them, but I don't want to speak for him.
You got any concerns besides just not paying attention?
I don't, no.
Okay.
No, the business is solid. Number 17, Jim, you were gonna reach
Yeah,
out to
that's
him.
on me and I was gonna call them this week and I didn't get it done. But I will get on that.
Yes, so
now.
that's a. No, number 7, we're in public, so that's an ongoing business. They built up a large amount past due. Some of that is attributable to COVID. We've granted everybody a deferment during COVID. Then there were some other things going on. They are working on a sale of the business to another business whom I've had contact with. There is an issue with certain amounts of the assets being held up in an estate with the current owner, his brother. His estate, there's things that are slowing down a potential sale.
So all of our loans are transferable to another entity if.
Could be.
business is purchased.
Typically, we ask to be bought out.
Okay.
Yep. Number 18, we'll hear more about today. Number 21, they are making payments. Again, this is back history. We're carrying it as an amount past due because they are behind. They have been making payments as agreed for the last 4 to 6 months. They just increased their payment amount by another 100, which just essentially covers what their real payments are. The business failed. They are now leasing out the property as apartments. That's why we're starting to get payment. It is still listed for sale
At a price you think it'll sell at?
at a price that would take us out. Yes, we have a first mortgage on that. The price would, yes, be 3 times that minimal.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, Number 25, they had those planning issues out in, no, not planning, I don't want to blame it on planning, but they had zoning issues in Sydney. I have a call into them today. They're doing well. They're ready to get caught up. They're gonna he's not sure whether you can do a one lump sum or whether it'll have to be over a certain amount of months, but before the end of the year, they'll be fully caught up. Transitioning to the LDC, number 11 has a balance, but they're in a deferment that we agreed to. And we're in the process of getting caught up before they went on deferment. Number 13, they're paying as agreed. Number 15, we just received their payment and they are current. Number 23 is current. They don't have a past due amount. Number 29, I'll get it next week. He just likes me to come to the meeting every month and say that they haven't paid. Number 38, we are trying to track them down to make them the offer that we agreed upon as a settlement. We hired a private investigator to verify their local address, which they're only at sporadically. We have previously sent certified documents to them, never signed. So we have asked him to find out where they are residing downstate and then to pursue them that way. And that's it, unless there's questions.
Any questions?
Number 43, as I came past that this morning, I was like, don't see any landscaping yet. How you progressing with that?
The landscaper that we had asked for a proposal has still not responded to us.
Okay,
I followed up twice. The owner of that site has followed up, he said 3 times, basically once a month.
time for a new landscape.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And, you know, the fact of the whole model of that being, so, you know, the business because it's listed there. So that's actually 2 parcels, one that we are leasing to the business, one that we own and are planning to sell to the business contingent upon our approval of a site plan that will make it not the way it is now. And so we're in that situation. Part of it, one of the immediate ones was to have some landscaping to screen the residential portion and then also to make the front corner of it more attractive.
So overall question outside of that. So I'm assuming with the loans that there's standard T&Cs that go with them. Do we customize them as necessary as well? Some of the loan language. Okay.
Yes.
So there's a process for every loan with regards to, it's not a stamp.
Right, and also, you know, a lot of the loans we do are not, and it's our purpose to do loans that banks would not do. So we find ourselves in many.
So
We have more exceptions than rules.
Someplace.
Yes, oh, yes, we do carry that, yes. And so, you know, we rarely, due to the infinite patience of the board, we rarely have outright losses, but we do have delays.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's all I have.
Yeah.
Last meeting.
Yes.
Can I ask a question about number 43?
Yes,
So you mentioned the landscaping, that's something that the owner is pursuing and using some of the funds associated with this value? for
no,
that?
that'll be on his.
Okay.
Done.
And what else? Our responsibility is where that. Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
That's a problem with too much success.
Right, is that agreement in the loan proposal? Like, is that a condition of the loan proposal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, and then the other piece of the financials are the loan, or the bills that need to be paid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I didn't think there was anything out of the ordinary on our invoices.
okay. Then can I have a motion to approve the treasurer's report, the invoices and the loan report?
Mhm.
Mike, we need a second.
It's not seconding stuff today.
Never the financial.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Glenn, you want to talk about the DRNC?
Yeah, so
Pilot.
as you are aware, and you guys are probably learning, you know, we have a pilot agreement with this business. And they had fallen behind on some of their pilot payments. We entered into a supplemental agreement whereby they had to make additional payments of $25,000 a month to get caught up. And they have finally completed that. And so now they are just back to making their regular pilot payments as they come due, and all back payments have been sent to all the jurisdictions. So town, county, and school district have all been made whole.
We should. Where we sent check of 37,000 to Delhi treasurer, I think, or it was just listed on the bill.
There's one for 60 to
It
the
said
town of Wayne.
miscellaneous. We should kind of spell that out a little bit more.
That was booked as miscellaneous. That should be booked as other pilot expense.
Right.
Yeah, we'll check on
Just
that.
check.
Yep.
that.
So there's nothing you need us to do on that?
No, that's actually good news.
Yeah,
I
no, I
don't
know.
often get to say good
Yep.
news with something like that. So yeah, we're all whole.
Okay.
That started it took us 2 years to get through it. I think 2.5 years. So I think we
About.
entered into the agreement in 19. And then it was 2.5 years. Do you remember offhand what the total amount was?
The whole pilot ought to be coming, kind of winding down and coming to an end.
No, I think they've got like 5 more years left.
Yeah.
Right, Sarah, does that? It's probably like a year after you finished that
Yeah.
is probably when we started.
Well,
No, the payments started actually before you finished. So it's probably in 2018, they made a year, then they just stopped.
Yeah.
And they rang up some charges
okay.
and then we got them back on. I mean, it was a healthy amount. It was, it was over, 300,000 at one point. So that's why it took
Wrapped up
time.
by 20.
Might have been approaching 500,000 by the time we got to an agreement.
Was it a 10-year pilot program?
10-year pilot,
10-year
standard for commercial. Yeah.
So if it started in 2019, it's still.
Yeah, there's still a lot left. Yeah. And I think it started in 17 or 18. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they're about 4 to 5 years in. But they've been paying everything else along with that supplemental. So yeah, we're good to go with them. So.
Good.
Okay, so hidden in, I don't know, did we report on this last meeting?
Actually, we hadn't been to dinner there yet.
I still haven't been to dinner there yet, but I recommend everybody go because it helps us out. But yes, all reports are good. Their rooms are, they're not fully booked on a weekly basis, but they're getting there. They've got weddings lined up for 23 and 24. So yeah, things are going well with that project. Okay, so Delhi Pipeline, just I'll try to quickly get you guys up to speed and then you can hammer me with questions later. Okay, so
Today or
Yeah.
some later.
whatever your preference is. So the IDA owns the pipeline that goes from for the 2 companies down in Fraser's up to the Village of Delhi wastewater treatment plant. This passed, well, actually, at the end of 2021, the IDA transferred its pipeline asset to the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation, which is a new corporate entity, has a separate board. Florida is the IDA's representative on that board. So now the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation is charged with operating and maintaining that pipeline. So we have monthly payments and receivables, and sometimes we actually collect on those receivables for the work to keep it up and running. In addition to that, I guess we'll get into everything. So the pipeline has had a number of issues. It is under a consent order with DEC for replacement. There has been an engineering report developed for a new line, a new 8-inch line. It's currently 6-inch. A new 8-inch line, which would be that high HDP. Yeah, the extruded, so it's one continuous. Right now, we have joints at every 20 feet, which is where our issues have been. The effluent degrades the rubber gaskets at all of our bell housings, causes fresh crackers, stress fractures, and then it breaks and we have a release. Not in a while. So that is the rationale for replacing it with a new pipeline. The engineering study was done by the industries. We are at a point now where we have been slowly discussing what a project would look like. The IDA did receive a grant for $427,000 last year from Empire State Development to help towards the cost of what would be probably a $2.1 to $2.3 million project. That right now we're at a stage where before the Delhi Sewer Works Corporation, and by extension, the IDA is the sole owner, will move forward with a project to do the pipeline. We are waiting on a user agreement for the actual pipeline itself that outlines everybody's responsibilities and costs and everything like that. And then a funding agreement whereby, absent any funding that the IDA is able to receive, 100% of construction costs will be borne by the two companies. Yeah. Yes. We used a similar funding agreement. Project took longer than I thought. So probably 2.5 years ago when we upgraded the pump station and everything worked well, in that the project came online and everything was good. And then we did get paid, almost within the time frame that we had hoped for.
So the issue with the pipeline isn't capacity per se, it's age.
Well, in order to handle what they put through, it has to operate at near 100% capacity
So we need
too often, not the whole time. Yes.
And is there any other entities, companies that may be interested in attaching to that pipeline?
Well,
I have inside knowledge.
Yes.
I'll give you
Yeah.
that. One.
yeah, so they have a contractual right to tie in and are tied in to the pipeline by way of the easement through which the pipeline passes. So by signing in the past, when they signed that easement, that gave that company the ability, the right to tie in and to ship whatever up to 20,000 gallons per day of effluent.
But it does it give them the right to share the expenses of the?
No, they have, so with the user agreement and the project funding, so the user agreement establishes who are users. The sole users are those two industries. The other company has a contractual right via their easement
Separate.
that's separate and distinct. They are not required to pay any general related costs regarding the operation and maintenance and upkeep of the pipeline.
Thank you.
We have a concern, I have a concern. because I still feel the pipe should be larger for future development down there. The Bergen Farm ever goes out of business. There's a lot of acreage there and going up road and Treadwell that could be developed for commercial development. So I personally think the pipe should be bigger.
Yeah, and I can't
For that.
accurately quote the numbers off of my head, but I will try anyways. So basically, hoped for capacity is 600,000 gallons per day on a continual basis.
That's one of the lead in.
Yeah, no, that's what
Current.
current needs
Okay.
are.
Okay.
Current and 3 years worth of growth needs. That's the projection we're working on now, is 600 to maybe 650. The new pipeline would have capacity of 950,000 gallons per day. So significant excess capacity.
Yes, because what, it was 6 and now.
6 to 8, it's like, it's not a, a percentage increase, it's almost exponential.
What about the pumps that were purchased and installed? Are they still sufficient for the planned increase?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, they've been checked out, and yes, they have sufficient.
Total amount of the capacity.
Yep.
950.
Yes, because actually, the new pipeline would be flowing at lower pressure. So yes, there's more than sufficient. And when we did the pump station, where before we had 2 pumps working in concert to push it, we now have the ability, 1 pump is sized to pump it all with a second in redundancy.
Well, I guess one of the questions would be from a cost perspective, to put in the larger line is what percentage of the cost is ripping out the old?
The plan
opening it
is
up
to,
versus the pipe. I guess that's your point, is why can't we go to a bigger pipe? So you'd have to look at the percentage of, if you're spending 78% of the cost just creating the space for the pipe, and the pipe's only a small percentage, it might be worth looking at it. A bigger-
so the plan is, yeah, so even bigger than 8.
Yeah.
So, because they are aware that whatever we don't fund, they fund. They're satisfied with 8-inch at the time frame.
Redundancy
yeah.
might be nice too.
Right, well, the idea is that if permitted, the existing line will stay in place as emergency use only. So that in the event
So you
of
have some
something,
redundancy.
there would be
Question.
some, yes,
A pipe that doesn't get used very frequently, that typically.
that already has issues.
Yeah,
yes.
that
Yeah.
typically.
Yeah,
deteriorates
but
if
the
it's
good
not
side
getting
is,
flowed throughout the time, but
other
it's getting
than the stress fractures that have caused the issues. I've had a number of opportunities to see the pipe, and it is,
This is
it's-
PVC.
it's just PVC pipe. When you wash it, it looks brand new. So there's no degradation to the pipe, it's just the gaskets.
See,
The rubber gaskets are not compatible with some of the hydrocarbons that are going through it.
and when the pipeline, the current one was designed and installed, those 2 plants were sending out purely dairy waste.
Yeah.
And over the last 20 years, they've changed their product. And
The design and size of the pipe had to be approved by DEP.
It will have to be, it has not, we have not taken
You
that
might
step
want a
yet.
12-inch pipe, but.
Yeah, then we'll have it.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah. And if it's.
DEP and DEC.
DEC is lead, DEP will try to get involved. DEC has stated they have no authority, but somehow they had it last time, so, yeah, exactly.
And if the second one, there possibility that could be used for another business that maybe have a low flow.
Right.
mild.
but you're also gonna have an issue with this village at Delhi,
I know,
because they're gonna control
think
the
that'll
amount of flow that's coming into their plant.
But that's
So-
where the city should be paying the upgrade to take care of that issue.
well, we're getting to that next.
Yeah.
Okay, so just where that stands, we traded user agreements and funding agreements at the beginning of August. I haven't heard anything yet. I've been poking them, where are we, but haven't heard
And
anything.
so the acronym that we use that I've known for a while, for the new pipeline control agency or.
Delhi Sewer Works.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
That's funded solely by grants and or.
That's
income
funded
from
solely,
users.
that's funded solely by user payments. So basically where we're at now is, the companies fund real expenditures. Plus they provide an administrative charge that gets forwarded back to the IDA for the IDA staff's time in terms of keeping track of everything.
Thank you.
Yep.
This will be a longer meeting than we thought.
Well, hey, that looks good for the loans, and yes, it's much easier. Okay, so Delhi wastewater treatment plant study. So where we're at with that, so while that pipeline is going on, there are also upgrades that will be required at Delhi wastewater treatment plant to continue to serve the industry's needs in full, and specifically with additional flow that they are in the process of requesting. So the IDA received funding through the county through their ARPA funding to do a study on the upgrades of the Delhi wastewater treatment plant, because there were estimates of what needed to be done that varied between $500,000 and $60 million.
60.
Yes, yes, that was one specific
So there's a
person.
wide range there.
So there's a little bit of a wide range that we're trying to
New,
do.
from all new to renew.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's what it is. So that's where we're at now. So we're doing the study. The IDA is under contract with Delaware Engineering. Well, no, they're not the lead. With who's the lead? They're out of Schoharie County. Lamont, yes, Lamont Engineering is the lead, and they are partnering with Delaware Engineering on the study. Our kickoff meeting is September 29th, which I believe is next Thursday. Yes. So that will be underway, and the hope is to have that study completed by the end of the year. Okay.
And that's an independent, WWTP is an independent entity from the IDA.
Oh, yes, yes, that's village owned. So basically, the IDA is stepping in to be like an independent. So the industries have an idea of what's needed, the village has an idea of what's needed, the IDA is stepping in with this study to try to bridge the gap. Yeah, so that's what our role is there.
And they're gonna provide a third estimate that hopefully splits the difference between this 60 million and this 500,000. Is that the intent? Like the outcome of this study is to figure out.
There was, all right, so there was
better
one
estimate.
specific, so everybody agrees that it's most likely in the 500 to $1.5 million range, but there was one party who was running around saying it was 60 million and got everybody worked up.
Okay.
So it's not that, it's,
So
$500,000 to
should not
1.5 million. Yeah.
So doable.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Very doable, not ridiculous. Yes. And that's what we're just trying to do there, is make sure the industries understand it's not that. We'll get through it and you guys won't even notice it.
And that helps us control the study as to what we can do with it. Help the industry, help the village,
Right.
where they did the study, then they don't want to release this part of it, or they don't want to release that part of it. You have a problem.
Right. Become like a third
I'll
party,
forget.
who's not biased by either.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
great.
That's what our role is there.
That's good.
Yep. Okay, so item D, we got that engine. So this was another study we were doing in the village of Franklin. The core of their main street has a severe septic issue. The IDA received a $4,000 grant from the county to do a preliminary engineering study on a Band-Aid type solution. I'll call it that, but would have been good enough for the next 20 years if it was successful. Well, the study came back negative. So it's a much larger issue than we were hoping. There was one property owner. So a bunch of these properties are postage stamp lots. And they have what is nobody that could potentially be non-conforming septic
Oh,
systems.
there we go. Okay.
And with limited options for addressing, if there are any potential issues, what they may be. And so there was one landowner who had some property willing to make it available. The engineering study was for a raised mound system on that. The outcome of that study concluded that not only could it not support the 3 buildings we are hoping it could not support the 1 main building on whose property it was on. So now it's morphed, and this is all just happened this week. I had a big conference call with the engineer on Tuesday, and then a conference call, because this relates to item 6 down below with some of the property owners and some planned investments and a planned project. All that is now on hiatus until we regroup and see what the Village of Franklin's appetite is for a comprehensive solution. So that's where we are there. I'll just give this to you. I don't really have an update on the Train to Work program, but I'll give you guys an idea of what it is the Department of Economic Development, in partnership with the LDC, where we run the money through for this project. We received a grant, $350,000 from the county under their ARPA funds for what we call Train to Work program. It's basically just a local OJT program that strips down all the rules that are typical you guys would have had to follow in the past. You know what a nightmare that is. So this program is targeted, it's a stripped down version targeted to smaller businesses that don't have HR people and have no hopes of getting through a state or federal OJT program, but can get through our program. We've drawn down about 150,000 of the 350,000 over the last, where are we at, say 8 months. The businesses that it's supporting, we've signed 49 contracts, probably about 35 of them will go to completion. Our issue is about 25% dropout due to employees quitting or never showing up. But the businesses that receive it, they're appreciative and everything's going well there.
Is that upfront funded?
No, basically it's back end. So they show,
So you don't get-
50% of wages over a period. And then, at certain benchmarks, then we pay them the 50%. It's worked out. Basically, businesses are doing it in two tranches, probably over a 2-month period, if they're full-time, because it does allow for part-time as well. That tends to drag on a little bit more. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that one. I'm gonna skip item. I took my glasses off. F. G. Evan, did you have anything
You
you?
gotta just say, you got one, it needs to be reread and digested.
Okay, so the initial results were not as positive as were hoped for. We had a meeting yesterday or Wednesday, I forget, where part of the IDA is the lead, but is partnering with SUNY Delhi folks on this study. We had a meeting either Wednesday or Tuesday to discuss the preliminary results of the study, which were not glowing. We are compiling a list of comments to go back to the consultant to ask them to make some adjustments in tone and some things of that nature.
And if SUNY Delhi will make some commitments, that will change things dramatically.
Yes.
There's no leadership there right now. How could they make commitments to anything?
Yeah. Right. So basically what we're looking at is, so my opinion of the initial feasibility study was that it was written for institutional investors that would require a return of X. Whereas we don't believe our market for a developer includes institutional developers. We are looking for a single, or probably not single, but a small local consortium of investors who are interested in doing a project that is profitable, but may not yield a, you know,
The higher level of
25%
return.
return.
may not receive a return that an institutional investor is
So the
seeking.
study was whether we could maintain a hotel.
No,
It was
the
more
study
financial.
shows
That's
it's-
part of it, but-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, they were targeting I'll just say it, an 18% internal rate of return. The project was only able to achieve an 11% internal rate of
Are they going
return.
flag or are they going to?
This would be flag, mid-scale flag.
Flag.
Well, the issue is with a boutique, the concerns with a boutique were that the predominance of our travelers are from out of the area.
Hmm.
And do you trust a boutique if you're coming in for just a stay of a certain number of nights? Are you gonna trust a boutique, or are you going to trust a flag that you know?
The Bulldog Hotel just doesn't sell. So
Right, but you know, a Hampton Inn, you know what a Hampton Inn is,
Has for years.
you know, so that's why a flag was chosen.
The right flag.
Yes, yeah, so it's mid-scale flag, you know, Hampton Inn, Comfort Inn, Holiday Inn Express. I forget the other ones, but that level was what we were looking at. 75 room,
So if the first study doesn't tell you what you want, you do another one?
yes.
yes.
Sorry.
And you compare 11% versus your stock market return.
Yeah.
And it's an easy decision.
Right, well, see, that's the thing, they're using,
I'll invest in it.
Yeah.
Those small
I'll
schools-
talk to you after the meeting. Yes,
But we all also realize a hotel is not gonna be sustainable unless the college is involved in it, using it as a training center for their students. It's not gonna be successful without that key factor.
it will not be as successful as possible.
There's too many that are standing half empty right now.
Because as, you know, as a person who works with college students, when you train them to perform at a certain level, you know,
They do.
sometimes they do, right? And sometimes there's some struggles in that, and that can be reflected in the quality of service somebody receives in a hotel, as well as kind of the reviews of that hotel, and that could be an impact as well. And students aren't here the full year. And that's a staffing issue. And then you're hiring temporary employees. So that's just something to consider, because I've heard this boutique thing thrown around and how integrated it could be with the campus. And that's a really nice idea, but comes with its own risks.
Right, yeah, I think there's gonna be limitations on the real world options for having students run this.
Yes.
But I
Similar to
think they,
the Blue Star options. Challenge.
yes,
You said it.
similar to those challenges,
Yep,
where I really believe, you know, the one thing that was not carried in the report is it stated that SUNY Delphi does everything on a single day basis for all their events, because there's no place for people to stay. But it doesn't then say, oh, if there's a place to stay, SUNY Delphi would do multiple, you know, different caliber of events.
It
And
says they all stay in Oneonta.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
Why do we
Right.
want them to stay in Oneonta after?
yeah, but then it never comes back and says, oh, but if you build it,
They will come.
all these teams and all these events will now stay in Delphi, which
For
is,
75 of them.
And I think, you know, I was at a meeting on Tuesday and wearing that hat, and I think, I'll put a little different twist on it. I think their focus is elsewhere right now.
oh, yeah, yes,
For
absolutely,
100 reasons, but.
Yes.
Know that that's gonna be their priority.
right. And their role really is minimal. It's the foundation has a role.
Yeah.
But the college itself would be down the line exploring potential internship related opportunities if feasible,
Yeah.
but not as a
As a
cornerstone
primary.
of the project. Yeah,
In my opinion, it has to be a hybrid system, little of both. And that, to me, that's more it's gonna be successful.
And again, Bluestone's no secret. They've tried to make it work, I think, several different ways, and I think they're still working on it.
Yeah.
Right, because of all the different entities involved, so.
You know, we're talking $10 million project, $15 million. People don't want 25%. Great return back on investment, and then a huge risk factor there. Not gonna do it.
No, it's only
Big
12.7.
chunk. What?
It's only 12,700,000, so.
By the time it gets built, it's gonna be
Yeah.
15 to 18.
Well, no, prices are coming down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, everything's coming down, yeah. Construction materials are gonna drop right back down.
Wages are gonna go up.
All right, Evan, did you want to talk about the greenhouse, or are we still just waiting on NYSERDA?
Yep, we're still just waiting on that waiting game.
We'll go into, we'll give you guys a more in-depth presentation on that at a different time. Or you can just contact us separately, and Evan will.
I saw it's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just looking at the clock and just trying to.
I'm retired.
Okay, all right, so number 6, that was a grant that we were going to pursue on behalf of Franklin, well, in partnership, Village of Franklin would have been the applicant, we would have just supported them. You know, the Restore New York program provides up to 90% funding for projects on public and private buildings. But without the septic issue being resolved, I mean, there's more to it than that, I'm just, you know, it has to, whatever. But without the septic issue, we can't move forward with that project. So that will be on hold for quite a bit. The other thing is number 8 under the LDC really should be under the IDA. And that we need to talk privately on.
Okay. You want to go into executive session?
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Okay. We have 3, we've had discussion.
Well, we only have one in the IDA.
Okay, so the Johnston and Rhodes is in the idea.
Yes,
Okay.
everything else.
Okay.
we have to.
All right, can I have a motion on the Johnston and Rhodes discussion?
With a show of great courage, I make the movement that we approve this loan, $100,000 to Johnson Roads.
I'll second it.
I thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
I
Opposed?
I.
Yeah.
It carries.
Yeah, it's carried.
Okay.
if I could have voted no and got the cover, I would have too.
All right,
So now what happened in 6 months, let us know, he can say, you told you so.
We've never said that.
I know.
No.
okay,
We'll deal with it.
any other old or
Tell me
new
that every
business
month.
for the IDA?
What?
Any other old or new business for the IDA? Okay, I have a motion to,
Did we hire somebody in your office?
No, we'll talk about that during lunch.
motion to adjourn, please.
So moved to adjourn.
And I'm
Oh,
gonna,
That's Mike's. I'm sorry, I'll second it.
okay, yeah, I'm gonna open the LDC meeting and I'll go through this real fast. I need a motion for the minutes from August 26th. All in favor?
Aye.
I need the motion on the 3 financial reports that we went over.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? The CARES Act.
We'll skip it.
Okay. Now we need a vote on the Roxbury Mountain Maple that we discussed.
That was on the loan extent, the extension.
For the extended term on the.
I'll second it.
As option 1 or 2?
What was the one that you mentioned?
1. I did 1.
Motion out for one.
Okay, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Phoenix, you want to do the Phoenix with a voice vote later, email vote?
Yeah, we'll follow up with that just because people haven't had a chance to look at it.
Okay.
in depth.
Sydney Flowers,
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And any other old or new business? Just to give you a quick update, I was involved with the cooperative, Cornell Cooperative Extension with their grant program that was funded by the Delaware County Supervisors with the ARPA funding money. They gave them originally $500,000. Committee put together a grant application and sent it out with a rather short time frame to turn around. We got totally overrun with applications. We got 87 applications back in. So we went through the 87 applications and we scored them all. And basically we had enough money to pay for about 23 out of the 87. So we went back to the Board of Supervisors, had a discussion with them, and the committee approved to give us another 500,000, so that we've got now we'll have a total of $1 million, and we can address some more. Has not been approved by the full Board of Supervisors, and I want to thank Glenn for helping out with the funding on that, because he was able to find some excess monies in his slush funds. Appreciate the help. Anything else? Okay, that I'll have a motion to adjourn, and we'll have some lunch. There you go, Mike. And we're gonna get